two, 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 one. One, two, 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 two.
I declare the inaugural Intergenerational Dialogue duly launched.
One, two, 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 one. One, two. One, two. Two, 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 two. Yeah. One, two, one. One, two. One, two. One, two. One, two. One, two. One, two. One, two.
I declare the inaugural Intergenerational Dialogue duly launched.
Can you hear me? Matthew, can you hear me? Yes, okay, we're good to go. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vasu Gounden. I am the Executive Director of Accord and Global Peace. Welcome to this session, which is very unique from all the other sessions that we have been having, because now we have 4 young people joining the 4 mayors in a discussion about today and tomorrow. So we are very pleased to welcome from the end, Priska from Ghana. And now, mayors, I have to call you by your first name also, because if I call the youth by the first name and I use your surname, I will be in trouble.
Araja. Very good.
Johnny
Araja.
Araja from San Jose. I don't have to give you a surname. Sofia from Italy. Tamirez from São Paulo. Aníbal.
Medellín.
Yes, but from United Cities.
Oh, yes. Cities Alliance.
Cities Alliance. Jan from Utrecht.
Yes, Netherlands.
Netherlands, Utrecht.
Yes,
Netherlands.
Jan.
And Ayseni? From Russia.
I see, yes.
And I'm getting many, now the mic works properly. And Raghav from New Delhi. I thought I was listening to myself. Now at least I'm listening to everybody. And you are listening to me also. So this is a discussion, an intergenerational dialogue, as I said, between youth leaders and mayors. And as we have said throughout the entire conference, cities are where the power and the future of the world lie. Because cities is where service delivery takes place. Cities is where the lives of people get made, the difference gets made in the lives of people in cities. Service delivery takes place in cities. So if people are poor, it is in cities. If people are rich, it is in cities. If they have houses, it's in cities. If they are denied water, it is in cities. If they are denied sanitation, it is in cities. It is cities that are the center of the lives of people today. And therefore, it is very important to have a dialogue amongst young people with the leaders of cities. Now, I'm told with United Cities and local government that mayors have changed their slogan from listen to us to we are listening. And the young people have their own slogan also that says, you cannot talk about us, you should talk with us. So I'm taking from that the mayors are going to listen, because they said they are listening, and the young people would like to be talking with you. So we are going to give them a chance to talk with you. We have had, as Global Peace and United Cities and local government, we have had 25 intergenerational dialogues across the world. We are doing 75 intergenerational dialogues next year to coincide with the 75th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations. And we hope that mayors from the 75 cities, together with youth leaders, will join us in New York during the celebrations of the 75th anniversary. So, now I'm going to ask, because it was Tamira's birthday this week, and because there is an airline strike in South Africa, and Tamira's is not going to make it in time to celebrate her birthday with all her friends, but she has many friends, you can tell us about your challenges, what's your aspirations for the future, what future you would like, and you have now a wonderful honor because the mayors are listening to you.
Whoa. And thank you very much. I would like to thank you actually for this invitation for us. For us as young people, it's very important to be here and to dialogue with you. I am Tamires. I am 22 6 years old. I just did this week. And I'm from suburb of São Paulo. And in São Paulo and in the dialogue that we did there, we talk a lot about employment of youth and about violence. We have a report, a Senate report in 2016 that said in each 23 minutes, a black young guy are murdered in Brazil. So we are living a violent moment, and we are living a moment that it kind of a project of death is being in rising. So we have now, unfortunately, not just in Brazil, but all Latin America, some governments, some right-wing government that thinks that youth, that poor people, that women, that black, that indigenous don't need to be a part of the government, don't need to have policies. So it's a kind of necropolitics action. I don't know if you heard about this term, but this term was built from a guy from Africa, Akili Mbembe. He's from Cameroon. And he talked that necropolitics is a way of the state choose who people should live and could live, and who the people that should death. So with the public policies absence or not, the state choose who are the people that can have a good education, a good health, a good employment, or who doesn't. And in the case of Brazil, the black people, indigenous people, because of the slavery and because of the racism, in the past century, don't have opportunities. Just in our former government, the government of Lula, the government of Dilma, we begin some public policies to get access on higher education, to get access to end poverty, to zero hunger in Brazil, to give access of water and energy, because we until now have some family that don't have access of clean water and energy. That is a basic income. So in this past year, we just began some public policies that make this. That's why I'm here. Actually, I have opportunity to go to the law university because of affirmative action, a program called ProUni, that it means University for All. So based on my grade in a task that I did, I win a scholarship, then I went to a university, a law faculty that is called Mackenzie. And that's why I'm here, actually, because I'm a poor girl from the suburb, and I have access on a public policy that make me the opportunity to be in this place. So I want that you, Mayor, tell me how that we will build cities and programs that is not based in the necropolitics, but that is based in life politics. Because I like very much what he said this morning, that global peace is not about absence of war. Global peace is about absence of inequality, absence of poverty, and absence of unemployment. So we as young leaders are here telling you, all of you, that we want to build this future and this present with you. We are here to tell you that we are doing movement in our cities, our states, our country, that we are fighting for our present, not just for the future, that we are going to university, that we are being an activist, that we want to build with you a better city, a city that gives employment for youth and for all people, a city that is security for not just black, but all kind of youth, because we can't live in a place that in 23 minutes a black young is dying. This is a war. It's like a war. And we are here to tell you that we are ready to build this new city, this new state, new country with you, to organize and to share this platform, this global peace platform, and fighting and organizing and mobilizing for a world with peace, that is a world without racism, without sexism, without LGBT violence on people, without classism, a world that we have equality. I mean, it's not too much to ask for equality of treatment. It's not too much to ask for don't live in a city that people are being killed just because they are black. It's not too much to ask for live in a city that we have the right and we are able to access university, to access cultural spaces, to access a good employment. So I don't know how much time I have because I think we are too much and I also want to listen to you, but I want to thank you very much, Accord, and to you, Vasu, because I think that this dialogue is very important to us. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamiris, and you, with the one we said, dialogue will make cities resilient. She has said that peace is not just the absence of war, it is the absence of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And Johnny Araya Mong, you are from Costa Rica, known as the country of peace. What do you have to say about peace not being just the absence of war?
Buenos días.
Good morning to you, and I am delighted to be here sharing with you this intergenerational dialogue. I think it's a powerful idea that we as cities should listen, that we as cities should enter into a dialogue and with young people. Are you hearing the English interpreting? It's channel 1 for the English. You got, yes? Channel 1 for English, you should be able to hear the English, yes? Yes, what I was saying was that I'm delighted to be here sharing this stage of dialogue with young people. I think more important than talking is listening today. We as politicians should be able to listen more than we can talk. I come from a country that I am deeply proud of. Costa Rica, of course, has international fame. Why? Two brands. One of our brands is peace, and the other brand is nature. We are a country that abolished unilaterally our own army in 1949. We decided to have more teachers than soldiers. That was the watchword. That was the slogan. With which our president at the time, José Figueres, decided to abolish our army. And that was a tipping point in the history of Costa Rica, because that turned us into a country with more teachers and more educators, a totally different country. He made us into a country of middle classes with opportunities, with social mobility as a result. And we've also declared peace on nature. We have been given the award Champions of the Earth 2019 by the UN because 30% of our country are conservation areas. 50% of our territory have tree cover, forest cover. 98% of all of our electricity is generated by renewable sources in Costa Rica. And all of that makes us feel so proud of our own country. Nevertheless, we are still aware of the fact that there is a new wave of violence that is rippling through so many countries in the world and so many cities. And our city is no exception. Violence, as our friend from Sao Paulo was saying, has a lot to do with issues like social exclusion, like poverty, like inequality, these are still the biggest threats to peaceful coexistence on our Earth today. I have said in many international forums that poverty is the worst predator for nature, and I still say that because wealthy countries, the wealthiest sectors all over the world, have to understand that if we want to have environmental balance on Earth, the very first thing we need to get is our social balance. We have to eliminate poverty completely if we want to save this planet. That is why it's very important for us to understand that to combat violence, to have peace in our countries, in our cities, that we need more equity and less poverty. A lot of these phenomena go beyond what we can do as local governments, because these are structural evils in our economy, structural problems that have to be dealt with by our national governments. They have a lot to do with the structure of power in the world overall. Nevertheless, we still can do a lot at local government level, even though, as I said, these structural phenomena go beyond our borders. Firstly, I think we should ask what sort of cities we want to have. We have to think about the model for planning cities. Do we want cities that are extended out, scattered, sprawling, spatially and socially? Cities in which ghettos are created. You've got a ghetto with the wealthiest and another ghetto with the poorest sector of society. We have to think of cities in a totally different way. We need a compact city, a city that has lots of shared spaces, a city that places priority on public transport, for instance. Often this is not just an ideological choice. It's not about whether you're choosing to be on the right or the left when you design cities. You have to have a humanistic view of cities. I always say cities need to allow us to have social inclusion spaces, and not the opposite, which is what tends to happen in our cities. They're actually social exclusion spaces, and I am the mayor of a city in our country that we love peace, and we've had an award for peace. We have a University of Peace. I want to convey to you that we as cities have to be protagonists, leading players, creating those inclusive urban models. Urban planning has to be humanistic in its approach. We have to design social programs allowing us to help the poorest people, the people who are excluded, the neediest, and that is the message that I would like to share with all of you.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Costa Rica anyway, because you have the University of Peace. Ayman, we want to welcome you, the Deputy Mayor of Sus. Now, Raghav, you heard the Mayor say more equity, less poverty. This goes beyond cities. There are structural problems, but cities can do more. More equity, less poverty. You come from India. You know this very, very well. So tell us about it.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for mayors for listening. Thank you, Accord Global Peace and UCLG. Thanks for such a passionate rendition of what you see the world as. One of the things that I keep imagining the future of cities to be is a truly inclusive space where we can have brutally honest conversations with people that we do not see eye to eye with. And most of the decision making and the policy making, whether it be poverty, inequality, or unemployment, or the environment, which is an absolutely imminent issue that we have to deal with, I see as a crisis of not being able to talk to each other even if we disagree. So one of the things that we need to start talking about is, what do shared spaces really mean? Creating really solid shared spaces where we can actually tell the other person, I disagree with you. I do not believe in what you believe in. But I still have to talk with you and figure out a solution together. Whether it is the right versus the left, or the progressives and the conservatives, the climate change deniers and environmentalists. So the environmentalists are not going to be able to create and implement a solution if we don't get the climate change deniers onto our side. And the same way, the other way around. So creating a really vital democracy, I believe the responsibility lies predominantly with the cities, because that's where we actually live. That's where tangible living manifests, life manifests. So I wonder if both the government officials, the agencies, as well as the general populace, do we actually have the skills to collaborate, talk about difficult issues, and come to common conclusions, number one. Second is, are we creating the tools as well as the infrastructure that can enable such conversations? Some of the primary examples right now, whether the Catalan crisis in Spain, or the Hong Kong protests, or Brexit for that matter. These are primarily because we've not included the important voices, right, during decision making, and now we have to deal with the difficulties. Another example from India is one of the things that we've failed to do is to take into consideration the legitimate grievances of the Hindu right wing over a very, very long time. And right now we deal with it because they are in power, and now they're back with a really strong agenda. So one of the things that I would like to leave this conversation with is, how can we create really strong, robust shared spaces where we can have brutally honest conversations that can end in strong decision making?
Great. Jan, I know you have to leave shortly, but how do we create shared spaces?
Well, first of all, right away after I started and arrived in South Africa, in Durban, at King Shaka Airport, I started the intergenerational dialogue, because Sophia and I were in the same flight and the same car to come to this venue. And I strongly believe in it because in the Netherlands, in Europe, we are blessed that 70 years after Second World War we have peace. But what kind of peace is that? And is that enough? And what Tamiris, and happy birthday to you, and what Tamiris said, that is one of the grounds or one of the rules or one of the basics or fundamentals, that if we have, and I always call it like, if you don't have chances, fair chances, because inequality will be there because we're all not equal, but we should be equally dealt with. We should have their chances, and we are not evenly talented, but what we have on talents, you should have the chance to exploit it. I truly believe that if you don't have that, that is a reason, or could be, let me say, a little fire thing that lights, gives reason for war or for other situations. I am an optimist, and I really believe that what my grandparents did, and before them my parents did, they taught us, and I got a lot of chances, and my generation did too. My grandparents had chances, but less, because they had that war. My parents had a little bit more chances than my grandparents, but it's not for everybody the same. And then I quote Johnny, my dear friend, a colleague from Costa Rica, we don't please make it ideological. Please make it practical, make it pragmatic. And then that's where local government comes in. Because we are close by. We know the people. When I ride my bike in Utrecht, when I go to the bakery, when I am in the library, or wherever I am, people can talk to me and can keep me responsible and can ask questions, and I don't have to go to South Africa to answer questions. But it's a long way to go, because, of course, like my children tell me, I'm getting old. No, Dad, you are old. It's always the art for us to try to make things possible and actually listen and use the power and the energy and the new methods that young people have. We have the Peace Prize initiatives by UCLG, and it was a long time ago it was started. I just saw the movies of the finalists, the 5 finalists. And in every initiative, very small, young people played a head role. I know it's not going to make peace at hand everywhere and give everybody a chance, but there are all lights of hope, of inspiring. So let's do that brutally. It's maybe too soft what I say, or maybe too open, but I think we need as mayors, we need as local staff, local politicians to reach out our hand, because we are closest by and we should try to bring that peace at the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. I know you have to leave shortly and you'll join us again. So whenever, please feel free to leave us and join us again. I want to also welcome at this point Rafaela. Am I getting the name right, Rafaela? Rafaela is the organization. They didn't give me your name. Mariam Idrisu. Okay, Mariam Idrisu. I've just rechristened you, Rafaela. The network of local elected women in Africa and the mayor of Sagnarigu. Priska, you know where that is, because it's in Ghana, right? And you're from Ghana. Now, Priska, we're talking about not making it ideological, making it practical. As you know, we have the UN goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, which are supposed to be practical, but they're also about the allocation of resources, the prioritization of resources. Tell us about that.
Thank you very much, Vasu, and thank you for all those assembled here for making this possible. My name is Priska Mponsa from Ghana. I'm 17 and a first-year student in the University of Ghana. I'm reading law. Well, talking about practicality, let's forget about the fact that in the classrooms all we do is theory. That's like a story for another day. We'll deal with that. But then before I have a dialogue, before I represent a youth in Ghana, in Africa every time, I make sure I interact with some of the people to know what actually is the problem or what is the ground issue that has to be dealt with, and then no come and just talk about what I have read and have not experienced or have seen. Now, before I came here, we had a survey or an interaction with a group of youth, like people, to know what they are doing in the various sectors of the country, like in the various regions, and then we realized that we have the ideas, we have the initiatives, we know what we want to do to drive change, because we realize that the older generation, if I may put it, have tried various means of building the sustainable cities and ensuring development. But then if we realize that those ways are not working, and we know we are building a future for the youth, a future where the youth is going to inherit, then obviously we would have to allocate resources to their activities, give them the opportunities. Now, apart from the various issues of corruption, embezzlement of funds that is pervasive in Ghana and every other part of the world, we realize that the youth do not have that much opportunity that they need to drive change, because if you look at the remote areas, you realize that they have a lot of problems of unemployment, they not having public facilities and amenities, the basic infrastructure, the utilities to ensure that they have a right to live in. And so they have come up with ways to ensure that they get these resources, ways to ensure that they enjoy the better life, get a better standard of living like everyone else does. But then they don't know which people to go to. They don't know the right authority to give their ideas to, for them to be taken up. They don't know who to go to get the right resource to start the work. So I want to ask the mayors here and everyone present that, what are some of the avenues that are available to the youth for them to pass their ideas through them, or send their grievances, their plights, their suggestions for change to be driven to the older generation? Because when we look at current trends, we realize that though the youth have the idea, when they report to them, then the older generation take it up and do it. And then we're in a we are in a country or a world where people sometimes fight for acknowledgement of what they are doing. And so we get issues of the youth having the bright ideas, and because they are not the ones that are going to push it up, then they wouldn't share it at all because they feel like someone else is going to be given the acknowledgement for what they have brought up. So then again, I'll ask that how do we build a society where we have the ideas and then collectively we come together as young people and old people to push this up so that we don't have to fight about credibility anymore. And then because we are building an inclusive environment or a society where we can live both as young and old people and then still have a very good future that fits all of us as well. So I want to ask the opportunities that are available for us, because it's not everyone that's getting the opportunity to join a dialogue like this, and it's not every country that is having this or every state. So which other avenues apart from the internet or social media where not even everybody knows how to use it perfectly well and not everybody has access to it as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Priska. So, Aisen, tell us, in Sakha Republic, what are you doing to create these opportunities for young people?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so pleased to take part in this UCLG conference. I'm inspired by the participants of mayors and youth in this dialogue. Of course, the topic we are discussing is very important. Violence is caused by poverty. The poorer a region, the poorer our cities, the more violence is it there. We need to fight it at the nation level, at the state level. We in Russia, and in particularly in Sakha Republic, in Yakutia Republic, are implementing the national projects set forward by President Putin. And in Sakha Republic, an important aspect is improving old, outdated housing. Yakutia, Sakha is the coldest region on earth. Right now it is -40 there. Very soon temperatures may fall down to -60 degrees Celsius. If housing is cold, people get more diseases, they get ill more often, and it's undecent living condition. We are to build a lot of new housing and get people live in these new houses. This is a costly program. We will spend some $2 billion USD in Sakha Republic to resolve the housing issues, and this will be our serious contribution to fight poverty. It's not only housing people need. We need to provide them access to education for people to be able to study, build capacities, competences, and take part in the administration of the state and the region. My advice to youth is to stay active in the fight for their rights. I was first elected as a member of parliament of Sakha at the age of 25. I had several competitors. Rich and influential people were among my competitors, the heads of enterprises, of diamond production companies. No one believed in me, but I finally won in this battle at the age of 25. Then I became a minister of the government, and at 40 I became the mayor of Yakutsk, the capital of Sakha, and 46 I became the president of Sakha Republic. The youth mustn't reallocate the solution of their problems to others. They should care for themselves. They should fight for themselves. If the mayors and the governors don't help you in education, why do you need such mayors and governors? Elect people who are committed to improve your life for the better. For government, for authorities, the most important thing is to constantly communicate with people. I have several social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and others. I have hundreds of thousands of followers, and dozens and hundreds of people write me every day describing their issues. I try, if not resolve, then to respond to every person. Sometimes it's impossible to resolve it immediately, but maybe in half a year or in 1 year. And people need this type of communication, this type of response, this dialogue between the authorities and the society, be it poor or rich people. This dialogue is the tool that mayors and governors all over the world should use. Thank you.
Now, you see, Aysen, Tamir is running for city council next year. And she is 26. Now here is an inspiration for you. You might also become president of Sao Paulo. We had a debate this morning, Sophia and I, because I said that it's all about, there's a difference between knowledge and intelligence. And Sophia argued, and it's difficult, I'm a lawyer, but she's a postgraduate student of physics. I told her my brain cannot handle physics, what she can handle. So she debated with me, she said it is not about intelligence and knowledge, it's about knowledge and competencies. This is what the mayor is talking about, building competencies. So tell us about this.
Thank you for the opportunity. Basically, to me, what is really important is raising awareness and raising competencies. And I think what we are doing here is a kind of answer to the ongoing question, the battle between participatory democracy and representative democracy. And that's what I think every mayor here can challenge every day, because you were elected for, so you have a plan for some years, but at the same time, you really need to create and push the dialogue between with citizens. For what concerns awareness and competencies, I do feel it's not just about knowledge, it's about using that knowledge in a creative way. And of course, I'm down to the job because I do think that scientific studies can help us to be more as creative as possible. I would like to refer to the 2018 UN Youth War report. UN deliver a report every 2 years, and in 2019 they studied the relationship between SDGs and youth. And the situation that was pictured is, of course, related to education and unemployment. And concerning education, I do feel totally agree with Mayor más maestros que soldados, so more teachers than warriors. And what I think we could, everyone here could agree that these are the challenges. And the report proposed to, I think, quite creative solutions. First of all, the collections of disaggregated data, because when we are speaking about youth, we are speaking about human beings that are growing every month. So we do need to keep the dialogue with them, so participatory democracy, because they are changing really fast and their personality is shaping every day. And of course, to me, statistics could be one of the tools to really have a trustful picture of the society. So maybe like the implementation of data collection in cities could be the tool to have a clear situation on what is going on. And the second option that the report gave was involving youth in the implementation and in the program concerning youth policies. So my message is that young people are not just new ideas or enthusiasm, they do have expertise, and if they are not given, they should have expertise since really a young age. Yeah, and that active citizenship is a moral duty to everyone, regardless of their personal education or working background, and that's what I'm trying to prove. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Now, Annabel, you are president and governor of Antigua in Colombia, but also you are representing the Cities Alliance. And we talked a lot this morning with the 4 young people. We are having a discussion about building social compacts. It's not about young people opposing mayors or being on the street just protesting against mayors, but it's how do we build social compacts? So how do we bring everybody together? And you are with Cities Alliance bringing cities together. But apart from bringing cities together, how do we bring cities together with young people, with CEOs, captains of industry, with religious leaders, so that we build a social compact for the future of humanity?
Bueno, gracias al moderador.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you to all the young people here with us up on stage, with us mayors. I'd like to start off by saying that we're talking here about peace, aren't we? And it's quite natural and logical that cities should talk about peace, and even more logical today than ever before that we as cities talk about peace, because the violent deaths in cities, urban violence, over recent years have really reached figures more than anybody or the numbers that were killed in wars all over the world. There are many things that we're convinced about, but I think more than anything else, our conviction is that our cities are going to be more and more important in the solutions to this problem, because they are also the areas where most of the problems in the world are being focused. Violence today is essentially an urban problem. And so the first thing I would say is, yes, of course, it is so important for us to sit down as cities to talk about peace, because peace is basically being attacked by urban violence. The second point then, and I'll follow up on what you said, moderator, is the question about young people. Now, without any populist rhetoric here, it is so important that young people make their contribution to peace and to reducing urban violence. And the reason why it's so painful to say this, but most of the people who die in urban violence are young people, and also most murders in urban areas are of young people. I can't tell the same story as the mayor of Costa Rica has told, because Costa Rica is a beautiful story of peace, isn't it? But here in Medellin, in Colombia, we also have an example that we can talk to you about it. Medellin used to be the most violent city in the whole world. And not just for 1 year, but for 10 long years. We were top of the list for violent cities. And in a 20-year transformation process, we became an innovative city instead of being the most violent city in the world, and now we are called the Urban Innovation Laboratory as a city. The biggest transformation over the 20-year period in our city of Medellin was the homicide rate. It has come down by 95%. That is the biggest drop in a homicide rate in any city in the world. And in Medellin, 75% of all of those victims who died were young people. And 75% of the homicides then were young people. The conclusion then, we have to pull young people out of urban violence. How do we do that? You said that, Tamiris, yes. Sophia said it too. All of the mayors have said the same thing. We do that by fighting inequalities. And the basic component of that battle against inequality is education. That is the big opportunity that we have to pull young people out of urban violence. We do it through education, and that is actually one of the elements that we worked on in our city in Medellin. So I would like to congratulate you on being part of this panel. I think this panel actually has, for me, the three assets that we need. The three pillars, the biggest, strongest pillars we have for the next 30 years. We have cities here, young people, and we have women on the stage as well, because most of the young people here, with one extraordinary exception here, we have a bit of balance here. Most of you are young women on this stage today. So I would say to you young people who are with us on the stage, and especially to young women who are with us today, the model of cities that some of you as young people have been talking about are the model. It's just the model that we are trying to give method to in Medellin, and it matches up to this panel. Cities for life is the model. It's simple, straightforward, but it's categorical. Cities that put at the heart of all of their public policies the defense and protection of life. And to do that, it's absolutely crucial for cities to be managed more by young people and women. Young people and women are much more sensitive to life, and they can make the difference in public policies. We're building cities for life.
Amen. One of my favorite cultural experiences is not in Sousse, because I have not been there, but you will invite me there, is in Tunis. You know that old coffee shop in Sidi Bou Said, right on the top, where you can drink mint tea, smoke a shisha, and listen to Melouf music, and imbibe the culture of Tunisia. So I really like cultural experiences, but how now do we move from a culture of violence to a culture of peace?
Merci. Thank you. I'm very honored to be here with you and to be able to talk to you about this subject that affects me directly, because I'm a young elected official. I would say, first of all, that to have peace, to have solidarity, first of all, what we have to do is re-establish the relationship of trust between young people and the state. Perhaps you are not aware of the fact that before we used to have a dictatorship as our political regime in Tunisia, and in 2011 the revolution kicked off. I need to say that that revolution was actually triggered by one young person. And who were the people involved in the revolution? It was the young people, and that it was a leaderless revolution. That was the slogan, no leaders. And thanks to our new constitution in 2014, and thanks to our new election legislation, the state said that it now required young people to be part of political participation. Thanks to that law, I am here with you today. Little by little, we started to involve and engage young people in political life in Tunisia, and we've also tried to include young people in our city's life as citizens. Thanks to that law that engaged young people to be part of our local government council, mainly because at the moment today in parliament or in presidential elections, we still have old people. Sorry to use that word, but they're old people. But at a local government level, 1/3 of the elected officials are young people. For instance, they are the vice mayors. I'm a vice mayor myself, and I'm also president of the Equal Opportunities Committee. We have another couple of young people who are head of different committees that we have in our local government, and we have other vice mayors, deputy mayors alongside me. Now, at the last elections, that were held in Tunisia, it was the young people, it was thanks to the young people, really, that the president was able to actually get through to the second round. And after the election polls, it was the young people, apparently between 18 and 25, who had voted for the president. That might sound a little contradictory because he's actually over 60, our president, but he was elected thanks to the vote from young people. And then we have seen the emergence of a new movement for young people using a hashtag. They felt after the last elections that they had to be more active in life as citizens, and that we are the ones who can change things, just as we were able to make the change there in the presidential election. So this new movement was also triggered. Once again, no leaders, and it ran awareness-raising campaigns. That shows you how important it is for us as local authorities. We are young people in local governments. We have sat down and decided that we should not lose that motivation, all of that energy, all of that enthusiasm. So we have organized meetings with all of these young people. We have worked with them. I can't say that we have totally re-established trust there, but we're starting to re-establish the trust between young people and the state, because they see us as being people who are just there to spend a bit of time. We go into our office, we leave, and not much more than that. So after this young movement that started, young people started to come and attend our council meetings. I think that's a good sign, because those young people are the majority of the population in Tunisia. We have a young population. Unfortunately, all that sounds good up to now, but we haven't yet managed to get any further, because there's always some amount of reluctance towards that. We're young people, we've got new ideas, but we're the ones that are using technology. But there always tends to be some reluctance to listen to us, either from the administration, the Home Administration, or some councillors. So I would just encourage everybody to not to help us. I don't want to use that word, but to invest in youth, because you really do have to accompany us. You have to give us capacity building training, give us the chance for us to have our own projects, so that then we can convince the other councillors and in the government about what we're doing. We have a number of difficulties that we come up against as young elected officials. And one is perhaps a lack of experience in Tunisia, as we did have a dictatorship in the past. I mean, all young people basically weren't interested in political life. I have to tell you myself, I never thought that I would end up in politics when I was younger, because I didn't even know the names of the ministers when I was young. And I think that it's very important for you all to work with us, to frame things for us, and that is the way we could really make changes in the state. And perhaps in 10 or 15 years, we might have a young president and a parliament with more than a half of the MPs with young people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Iman. I remember coming to Tunisia when Ben Ali was the president, so I know what you're talking about. The one group that is marginalized, of course, is young people, Mariam. The other group is women. So tell us, you are now the mayor, what are the challenges women are facing, and what do we need to do to overcome those challenges?
Thank you very much, and thank you to the organizers for giving me this platform. I'm a young female mayor from Ghana in the city of Sagnargu, northern part of Ghana. I must first of all commend my president of the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for giving me the opportunity to serve in his government as a mayor, a female mayor and a young one for that matter. In fact, in Ghana, the youth, we are discussing issues concerning youth, so I need to briefly touch on the youth before women issues. Youth constitute about 57% of the population of Ghana, and we all agree that they are the active group, and there's a saying that the ideal mind is the devil's workshop. Over the years, it was coupled with unemployment. Ghana youth unemployment. It was a major issue for youth in Ghana, and so issues of armed robbery were highly recorded. But currently, I am confidently and positively saying that it is a thing of the past, since the current government have introduced programs for the youth to get engaged with. We have established the Youth Employment Agency. They have established the National Youth Authority. We have the Youth Parliament in most of the cities, or in almost every city in Ghana, so that young people can come together to deliberate on issues concerning progress of youth. The government of Ghana has also introduced the Nations Builders Corps, where they have engaged over 100,000 people in various models, Feed Ghana model, Educate Ghana model, and so many other models, so that it can prepare the youth towards gainful employment opportunities in Ghana. And so I believe that if these opportunities are created everywhere around the world, the youth will be actively engaged and their minds will be effectively utilized. It is better that way than to leave them unattended to, and then they use their knowledge and expertise in other unproductive issues. Now, to the main issue, women. Before I move to the women, I must also commend my president for at least ensuring that we have 15% of mayors in Ghana being young people, because I belong to the category and we constitute about 15% of the leadership of Ghana, and that is a good sign for us, because if we have 15% now and progressively, I believe one day we can even get the President of the Republic being a young person, because we are given the opportunity and we make sure we serve the people well, to the admiration of all, and for the people to know that indeed the wisdom of King Solomon, as said in Bible, had nothing to do with the old age of Methuselah. Young people can do it better if we are also given the opportunity to serve, because we appreciate the needs of both the young people as well as the old and the adults. Now, women equally, I must say, are underrepresented in Ghana, because at the local level we have about 7% representation of women at the local level. And a whole lot of issues are contributing to this underrepresentation of women at the local level. Gender stereotyping is the major issue in Ghana, and I believe everywhere in the world. They still believe that women belong to the kitchen. Women belong to raising the family. Women belong to taking care of the husband and the needs of the family. So if a woman is supposed to be taking care of all these things, how will she effectively manage a leadership position? But it is high time we let the people know that these stereotyping need to come to an end. And we can only do that when we empower the few women in leadership position, the ability to deliver well to the satisfaction and admiration of their people. It is not just electing a woman to be a leader, but empowering that woman to be able to deliver is another issue. Having the passion to work for your people, having the passion to meet the needs of your people. Sometimes you want to meet the needs of your people, but how to meet the needs of the people becomes an issue. So if we get the opportunity, the few of us, for example, the 7% that I have mentioned that we represent in Ghana are given the opportunity and we are unable to deliver satisfactorily, how do you vote for women the next time they come in or they present themselves for leadership positions? So I want us to take note and to support networks like Rafaela. Rafaela, that's the network of locally elected women of Africa, to be able to empower women, locally elected women, in terms of building their capacities, in terms of engaging media, in terms of engaging the people to be able to do their work satisfactorily. Most of us did not get the advantages, the opportunities to be able to attend some of these international forums whereby you look at it as a learning and a learning exchange environment. You learn experiences from other mayors across the world to be able to impact positively wherever you are coming from. But if these opportunities are given us, we could be able to learn best practices and get back to our municipalities and impact positively on our people. Thank you so much.
So, my colleague got a little carried away with the youth. She thinks I'm also so young. I said, how many minutes do we have? She wrote 10 minutes in a small paper. But as you can see, I'm not of the age where I can see. But Tamira said it's 10 minutes. So I have to say, Mariam, that the intergenerational dialogues, you'll see global peace. You will recognize the sign. It is an Adinkra sign from Ghana. And the intergenerational dialogues were launched in Accra by President Nana Akufo-Addo and the chairperson of Global Peace, Graça Michel. And yesterday, when Graça Michel launched the Plant Trees, Not Bombs campaign, she also appointed our young youth leaders as the new first Global Peace Ambassadors. Raghav is the Global Peace Ambassador for Asia. Tamira is for Latin America. Here we have Sophia for Europe and Priska for Africa. So they will be the new Global Peace Ambassadors. Now, since we have 10 minutes, this is the question I want to ask, because the challenges of the 21st century are about exponential population growth. We are going to be 8 billion people shortly on the planet, and then in another 12 years we will be 9 billion people on the planet. These people are rapidly urbanizing into cities. They are young people. So it is about young people rapidly moving into cities. We've got the huge crisis of the 21st century, which is climate change. But all of these challenges of the 21st century, exponential population growth, migration, climate change, all of these are common challenges across the world, and they require common solutions. They require a social compact. How do we forge the social compact? How do we move from an antagonistic relationship, because this is where we are in the world today. You can see that we are in an antagonistic relationship across the world. How do we change that paradigm? Iman, we know what happened in Tunisia for good reason. But today, unless we work together, young people, old people, people in the north, people in the south, people in the east, people in the west, rich people, poor people, workers, bosses, everybody, unless we come together in a social compact. And I want, this must happen at the city level first. This has to happen at the city level. How do we build this? How do city mayors come into a network? Animal, the Alliance of Cities. And how do you come into a network, but not just a network, working with other constituents? So I'm going to give each person now my calculation, if we have, yes, 1 minute. So, Raghav, starting with you.
All right. Thank you for the question. So, So I think the first thing that needs to be done is make sure the process is absolutely inclusive, whether it's young or the old, religions, different socioeconomic groups, and languages, whatever it is. And especially in heterogeneous societies, it becomes all the more difficult to do this. But if we fail to take into consideration all possible voices, at the end, during implementation, we don't have ownership, we don't have accountability, that's going to be a problem. We also need to include voices from the entire spectrum, whether it's business, it's social leaders, it's young leaders, it's religious leaders, whatever it is, because we often tend to overlook certain parts of the society. We preach to the choir a lot of the times, and that is not going to be useful. I think I'll stop with that.
Now, both Jan and Annabelle said, let us let the young people talk. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay, but Iman, you are also young, so we'll give you a chance also. Tamiris.
So, with inclusivity, I think that we need to build a thing that is representative. I mean, when we talk about young and youth, there's no just one kind of youth. There's a diverse kind. So I think that to think cities and to build a society that will be inclusive and that we can deal with all these billion that are coming, I think that it's important that we are sure that we have all kind of movements, all kind of people, so young, old people, black, indigenous, white, yellow, Asians, all kind of perspective in the city. I mean, from the suburb, from the center, that study law, that study bio, that study engineers, so that don't study, that work, that don't need to work, because I think that we will just build a program and a project of a real city that have peace, and peace as a society that don't have unemployment, that don't have inequality. It will happen when we can share, and that when we can tell for all the people and make them be sure that if they don't be part of the politics, don't be part of what is happening with the city won't grow, the city won't be good. So I think that one thing that is important is we realize for all kind of people that they are political actors too, that they and everyone needs to be part of this action to change.
What do you think? She's going to win a city council seat?
Yes, agree.
Sophia.
Thank you. I'm here as the Italian youth leader, youth delegate of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities of the Council of Europe. And I would like to say that there is something behind us. I think there are great opportunities already that need to be implemented. But at the Congress, we are having such a great experience that to me could be copy and paste, because we are 42 youth delegates from 42 member states, and we are collaborating among each other, but also with ambassador, national delegation, and COE officer. It's a platform in which young people, technicians, experts, politicians can come together and search for solutions. So to me, interdisciplinarity is the key, and dialogue, but with the aim to have actions.
Priska?
All right, thank you. So if we want to build an inclusive society, social compact, it means we're going to move from the normal order, and that is change. Now, before you change people, we need to conscientize and sensitize them, create the awareness and let them understand that there's a need for us to move into a pivotal moment where there's social compact, there's an inclusive society, and then the youth and the older people agree and share ideas. And so after conscientizing them, you don't leave them there. You go on to mobilize the people, you organize them like we discussed this morning, and then you drive the change. Then again, we shouldn't limit it to the government, because when Ms. Mariam was speaking, she spoke about how the government was implementing youth policies, and then we realized that the government had done 15%. That means if other stakeholders such as the NGOs, the private sector is also doing 15%, then we can have about 75%, and that is far more than the 15%. So if we're conscientizing, if we're mobilizing and organizing, we shouldn't limit it to the government, but then look at all other stakeholders and then come on board to drive change. Thank you.
Amen. You staked your claim to being young, so you can speak.
I'm young.
I know, I can see it.
Je viens d'avoir les... Yes. I'm just on my 30s, a bit on the limit. We're working on an inclusive, integrating, equal, attractive, and innovative city vision. To be successful and to actually make that vision into a reality, we have to ensure that all stakeholders are with us. Local governments, civil society organizations, regional authorities, central government authorities, international NGOs, and even citizens individually. I think without all of those stakeholders together, you won't be able to advance very far. It's so important for an inclusive city to be possible, for us all to work together and to put citizens in the center of that goal. Thank you.
Yes, I think that we should make a conscious effort to ensure that our plans, our visions are gender and youth responsive. And when we give opportunity to women, more women to serve, they will take care of the needs of both women and youth. Without the neglect of youth, they will take care of every other citizen, and it will be more inclusive for everybody to benefit from. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, dialogue. This is what we are going to promote with the mayors, with the young people. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the leaders of today and of tomorrow. We thank you.
Thank you.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2.
Hello. Just to let all of you know that the ceremony
all please stay for the Peace Prize. Jan, are you joining us? Yeah, okay.
Titi, Titi. Titi. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. One, two, 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 two.
دخل إلى عرسان مئات الآلاف من الزبون. ولدنا أهل وأصحاب كنا وما زلنا بنبقى إن شاء الله. يعني الإنسان المنفتح بفكره هو بيكون أكبر من موضوع
Ladies and gentlemen, a nation, we heard 2 days ago, nations are as weak or powerful as they tell their stories to themselves and to each other, to anyone else. What applies to nations applies to cities. A city, cities, are as weak or powerful as they tell their stories to themselves and to anyone else. Dear colleagues, today it is a privilege for me, as the ambassador of the UCLG Peace Prize, to present to you 5 local governments that share their powerful stories with us. Stories that give me goosebumps, and I'm sure that when you have seen the video, they will give you the same. Local governments have a central role to play in preventing conflicts, building bridges and dialogue after conflicts, and promoting a culture of peace. Through the UCLG Peace Prize, we aim to celebrate with each other successful initiatives of local governments and stimulate other local governments to follow suit, as well as to generate much needed international public attention for the role that local governments can and should play in conflicts. In a few minutes, together with the Mayor of Barcelona, on behalf of the presidency of UCLG, I will reach out this award to one of the 5 nominated cities. 3 years ago, we did the same in Bogota, Colombia, and I'm pleased that we can do it again here in Durban, South Africa. Applications from 19 countries out of all corners of the world have been received this year, and our high-level jury has selected 5 top contenders as finalists. They're all here. These candidates have been supported to produce videos of their initiatives and have shared their stories this morning in an inspiring session. Before I proceed with the report of the jury, reading it for you, we will show a short compilation video that gives you an impression of their excellent initiatives. The video may be started.
سكان عرسال هن 40,000 نسمة. دخل إلى عرسال مئات الآلاف من النازحين. كلتنا أهل وأصحاب، كنا وما زلنا وبنبقى إن شاء الله. يعني الإنسان المنفتح بفكره هو بيكون أكبر من موضوع الهوية. حصل لقاءات سريعة مع السوريين وطمأن إلهم بأنه ما في استهداف لكم، وخطبنا أيضا اللبناني إنه أنت اليوم حل المشكلة ما بيكون بمهاجمة النازح السوري. وصلنا اليوم لمحل في هدوء، في سلام، في تقبل للواقع. نحن سعداء ونحن فخورين بأنه بهيدي المرحلة التاريخية كنا موجودين فيها.
Enforced disappearances, territorial disputes between armed actors, and some of the country's most striking acts of violence have taken place in Bogota. Bogota, nonetheless, is a city of opportunity that has been a symbol of civil society organizing in the quest for peace.
They combine psychosocial practices and artistic expressions as an avenue to reconstruct social fabrics that have been fractured by armed conflict, transforming the way individuals view and interact with one another. Our methodology is a flexible toolset that can be replicated in conflict post-conflict domestic and international scenarios, adapting to local particularities and needs.
Cali definitivamente ha sido una de las ciudades y de los territorios más afectados por la violencia en Colombia, desde el narcotráfico hasta la guerra. Tan es así que en determinado momento llegamos a ser la ciudad más peligrosa de Latinoamérica. Todas esas realidades nos llevaron a tomar la decisión de diseñar una estrategia que nos permitiera generar una ruta de paz urbana y que efectivamente esa ruta de paz urbana tuviera un componente de reconciliación y por supuesto de justicia restaurativa. Gestores de Paz y Cultura Ciudadana es una apuesta por la vida, es una apuesta por la reconciliación y es una apuesta por la paz.
بری شر داعش هجمارا کنجین و میلیون و 150,000 کس بون. پشتی سال 2014 و هاتن آواره و پنابران هجمارا کنجین و گهشتن نزدیکی 2 میلیون.
والگردن و استیعاب کردنوی همی خلک زور کی داشیانت حکمت خوجهی و حکمت هرما کردستان جی.
اجبو چسباندن آشتی چندین جاران چالاکین مزن بو آواره و پنابران هاتی نکرن. حکمت خوجهی جبلی رولیوی و اورک خستن NGO بو خدمت بو وگریان زوری لآوریان نکریه.
Cambia tu mente, construye paz. Este programa inicia en el año 2016 y surge de la necesidad que tiene la ciudad de resolver problemáticas entre jóvenes que se están disputando los territorios. A partir de este programa, logramos que los jóvenes en conflicto entiendan que no tienen por qué matarse. Jóvenes que antes eran pandilleros, hoy son personas de bien. Hemos logrado tener la tasa de homicidios más baja de los últimos 25 años.
May I invite the representatives of the finalist cities to come forward at the podium so that I can read the report of the jury. Arsal, Cali, Duhok, Manizales and Bogota. Yeah. We met again this morning. Thank you very much. I see Arsal, Duhok, Bogota, Cali, Manizales. First and foremost, the jury members note that all finalists, all you, this year displayed exceptionally high quality initiatives and would be worthy, all of you, to win the award. All 5 finalists are working very hard trying to resolve difficult challenges and are doing so under complex circumstances. Efforts like those displayed by the finalists, ladies and gentlemen, show that the human race can surpass even the most difficult circumstances, showing that there is hope for a positive future in their communities. To arrive at the selection of a winner, one winner, the jury had the following considerations. Please note that the order in which I will mention the finalists is alphabetical and thus does not represent any qualitative ranking. I start with the A of Arsal. In 2014, IS and al-Nusra cells infiltrated Arsal from Syria. A period of war and terror tore a community apart. Now, Arsal municipality tries to bring it back together. It does so through initiating and facilitating dialogue and mediation between Lebanese inhabitants and Syrian refugees. The municipality of Arsal displays great efforts in addressing potential
sources of conflict in a community that has gone through a very difficult time and is still facing complex challenges. By reacting 24/7 to outbursts of conflict with the risk of escalation and applying the so-called Sulha principle that connects with Arab culture, the municipality shows the transformative power that local governments can have in reinforcing social cohesion. Bogota, the city of Bogota, has long been subjected to armed conflict, with victims and perpetrators on both sides. Now Bogota tries to become a symbol of civil society, organizing in the quest for peace. An example of such effort is the use of commemorations on specific dates as a mechanism to establish collective recognition. Shared commemorations of victims from both sides of the Colombian Civil War are set up through cultural and artistic activities. The jury is impressed with the innovative way in which the city of Bogota manages to bring together victims and relatives from multiple sides of the conflict through culture and artistic expression. The initiative is a prime example showing how suffering in conflicts is universal, and that rather than fueling resentment, the sharing of experiences and breaking the silence about traumatic events from the past can aid in the process of reconciliation and healing. Duhok. Before IS attacks on Mosul, Duhok had about 1.15 million residents. In the following years, however, the governorate has welcomed a huge influx of refugees and internally displaced, and provided a safe haven with equal treatment and equal access to municipal and health facilities. Duhok's population has grown exponentially, including communities with different religious backgrounds, which live in peace together as the governorate works hard to ensure peaceful coexistence. The jury commends the governorate in Duhok for the way in which it displayed compassion and resilience in taking care of internally displaced persons and refugees. The effective coordination of the crisis, among others by forming the Board of Relief and Humanitarian Affairs and cooperating with humanitarian and international organizations, is impressive. The safeguarding of human rights and human security undoubtedly contribute to the prevention of conflicts between different communities residing in Duhok. Manizales. The Change Your Mind, Build Peace program of the city of Manizales in Colombia started in 2016 and was built along with gang members from the city to solve problems among young people who are fighting for territories. The aim is to reduce urban violence due to organized crime, trying to dismantle youth gangs and reducing violence by providing educational alternatives for disadvantaged youth. The jury is impressed by the results of the initiative, with a significant drop of homicide rates and the dismantling of 4 gangs in 2 years. The approach of co-creating the initiative with young people themselves, asking them what they need, has undoubtedly contributed to its success. The initiative also shows the value of working with committed higher education institutions, to be able to provide alternative opportunities for young people who are members of a gang. Santiago de Cali. The city of Santiago de Cali faces challenges of a high homicide rate and many youth gangs. Promoters of peace and civil culture, established by the first Secretary for Peace and Civil Culture, have set up initiatives on urban peace. These initiatives include reconciliation and restorative justice. The initiative works with a mixed target group of victims of the armed conflict, former combatants, young ex-gangsters, and residents living in violent parts of the city. Furthermore, the strategy incorporates an age-specific approach with a high prevalence of young people, and it includes men, women, and people from various backgrounds. It makes it a profoundly inclusive approach. Santiago de Cali has been a finalist in the previous edition of the UCLG Peace Prize 2016 as well. And the jury recognizes that the city continues to be a strong example of how local governments can set up powerful programs that contribute to a culture of peace. But, ladies and gentlemen, although all 5 initiatives have the quality of a winner, I can't say it enough. The jury could only select one finalist to receive the 2019 UCLG Peace Prize. Without further ado, but a few seconds of silence, I present to you our champion of peace, after having invited Mr. Mayor of Barcelona to come to the floor. And is it right that Mr. Pak Tau is there and will join you? This is a real privilege. And after you having come up to the podium, Ada. It's very heavy?
Very heavy,
okay.
Yes.
Welcome. Kind of yours. Ladies and gentlemen, the UCLG Peace Prize 2019 goes to the city of Arsal. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, all the 5 finalists did a very good job and still do a very good job. That's why I want to ask the representatives of our founding fathers and mothers to come forward to hand over an award of recognition to the other finalists. To start with, Mrs. Mayor. Wanchi. Come. The representative of Bogota, Augusto. The representative of Duhok.
the representative of Manizales. And last but not least, second time a finalist, is Santiago de Cali. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention, and we are closing the ceremony, but not after having applauded once again and drinking a toast later the evening on the winner, the city of Assal. Thank you very much.